I'm an Aquarius sun and a Gemini moon. And I electrify my goddamn self. So, I'm on another walk. I love these walks, you know? These walks feel so good, you know? When you take these long walks. And health-wise, you know, I've been having these extreme headaches, you know? But when I take these walks, I said these headaches, these walks, I feel much calmer, more at ease, you know? So, this live is about watering your own. You hear the birds? Sound so beautiful. The birds sound so beautiful. They're chirping and they're just, yeah. This is kind of, I could find a better one. Yes. Yeah, so the premises of this is water your own flower. I drew this, you know. As people, we do so much. We do so much. So, let's see. Sorry, guys. I'm doing two things at the same time. Multitasking. Look, I'm doing too much. Yeah, as people, we do a lot in this world. Like, we do this, we do that, you know. And do we forget to water ourselves? You know. I use the analogy of a plant, you know, which is beautiful, sunflower. But then I think about it. A plant needs water, the right environment, it needs sun, it needs all these things to grow beautifully. But guess what, guys? I actually circled back. Right back. Oh, isn't that crazy? I love that. I love that. I circled back and the bird was like, yeah. But anyway, besides the point. See? See? Too much stuff. Too much stuff. But, as I was saying, yeah. So, what does the flower need, you know? It needs water. It needs a good environment to grow, right? I mean, in the springtime, it just blooms so beautifully. Does it bloom in the springtime? I don't know. I can't tell you guys. I didn't look up this information. But remember to water your plant. So, like I said, it's an analogy of the human body, saying, water yourself, you know? Sometimes we forget to water ourselves. We forget to give ourselves the proper nutrients, we forget to drink water, right? Sometimes I forget to drink water. Should I be drinking some water? Yeah, you need to drink water. You're thirsty, okay? You know, but for us to strive, you know, the right foods in our body for us to be great, you know? So water your flower, you know? Because the flower needs to be taken care of. It's delicate. Just like you, you're delicate. We're delicate. You know, one thing goes off and our body's not feeling good, right? So you're delicate. You have to take care of the body. You have to take care of your flower because the petals will just break apart if you don't take care of it. So how do we do those things? How do we take care of ourselves? How do we be there for ourselves? I mean, I would think that we have to put ourselves first at all times. Being first is important because in order for someone else to be okay, you have to be okay. You have to clearly exist, you know? They say, right? Put your child's seatbelt on first. No, they don't say that. You see, my mind wants to say that. Put your seatbelt on first, then put the child's seatbelt on second, because you got to make it out alive, right? So, but do you see how innately what my mind wants to say? You know, you want to just save everything else, but you have to clearly save yourself, right? So I drew this insignificant to understanding that I'm going to be watering this flower. The flower is my body. The petals are me, you know, right? This, yes, yes. You know, we forget these things, and it's so small, you know. We have 9 to 5s, we have children, we have things to do, but we forget us, you know, as human beings. Like, we don't merely exist in this world. You can't forget you. Hi, Vivian Yang. Hi, baby boo. Because if you forget you, then how does the ball keep on rolling? We forget these things. And it's very vital and it's very important for our health to be intact, because we have only this one life to live. I mean, I don't know what other body I'm going to be taking over later, but I know this is the body that I'm going to be carrying on for this lifetime. So I might as well take care of it. I sleep properly, right? I eat properly. We're not always going to be great at eating. You know, we're susceptible to the BS in this world. There's chemicals in this food. You do your best, right? You do your best. If you do your best, then you'll be okay. At least you tried, right? At least you tried. At least you tried, you know? If you try, then maybe you'll succeed at it, right? You have to try though, right? You have to get up another day and do the damn thing. But we have to take care of ourselves. As I was drawing this, I was thinking that, am I pouring enough water to this body, you know? Am I doing what I need to do to nourish these thoughts? Do we think about that? Are you doing enough to nourish the thoughts, your creativity, your body? Did we exercise today? Did I move my spinal cord? I mean, you can't really move your body. Did I move my body today? That's why I take these walks, you know? I take these off. Did I eat some fruit today? I ask these questions. This is all about the health. And I'm saying you could be healthy, but you know, you have to think okay too. This all coincides and works together in this world that we're living in. And this world isn't easy. It's not easy, right? You know, sometimes you can't always control your environment, but if you're smart enough, you'll be able to push through anything, and be resilient. You know, I used to think that being strong was annoying. Like, oh, I don't want to be strong today. Hi, everyone. I don't want to be strong today. I don't want to be strong today. But then that's a good thing, you know? It's a good thing. And so how are we as a society going to water ourselves? Because we need it in all different ways, you know. You might not have the same problems that I have, and I might not have the same problems you have, but we all have some glitches, you know. Is this your first time? Oh, no, I have had many times on this. But thank you for asking. And thank you for subscribing, whoever did. I appreciate it. But all need to learn how to take care of ourselves, and every self needs something different to grow, you know. I believe that is of importance. So ask yourself, what can I do to like water myself up? How can I grow, you know? How can I take care of myself? What do I need to let go of? What do I need to put in? What vitamins do I need, you know? Maybe I need to get down to that iron pills. Or maybe I need to go lose that extra pound, you know? Or maybe it's whatever. Maybe I need to meditate just a little bit to give my mind that ease, you know? Like these walks that I'm doing right now makes me feel amazing. I'm telling you. Like $1 million. I needed this, okay? What do you need? What do you want? What do you like? You know, a lot of people have your time, right? You know, if you have kids, they have your time. Maybe you have family that has your time. That job might have your time. But what do you need? What do you want? You know, what do you like? Who are you? You know, I ask myself these questions sometimes. It sounds weird, but I'm like, who are you? What were you? Who are you? I'm an artist. I know that to be true in reality. So I draw this to ask, what do you need to feel good? How can you water yourself? How can you feel good on this day that's kind of cloudy? I should show you guys. It's really cloudy out here. But you know, we all need that watering. We all need that nurturing to feel good, to feel alive. So when I drew this, I felt this way. I felt like this. And, you know, the ways to do it, I'll give you examples if you can't think of anything. Like I said, maybe you need to go to the gym, you know, and maybe traditional gym isn't you, so maybe you need to go cycling. Maybe you need to get on a bike, right? Maybe you need to take a walk, like I'm taking a walk, right? Maybe you need to go on a motorcycle. Yeah. Maybe maybe you need that. Maybe you don't even know that you need it, you know? Some people like that. You know? I'm not a roller coaster head, but maybe you need to go on a roller coaster. Right? Maybe you need to eat some fruits today. Maybe. Fuck it. Maybe you don't need to eat fruits. Maybe you always wanted that hamburger that you haven't eaten in a while, you know? Balance is needed. Can't deprive yourself, you know? Sometimes you need that other side of the balance. If you've been doing good for 5-6 months, if you really don't want to deprive yourself, get a nice, you know, good organic burger and make it at home or something, you know? Maybe these things are needed, you know? What do you want? What do you need? What's good for you? You know what's good for you. I need to sleep. Oh, oxygen. You know, if you need to sleep, you got to ask yourself, why aren't you sleeping? You know? I know why sometimes I can't sleep, you know? Sometimes exhaustion brings exhausting thoughts. Therefore, the body can't relax to sleep in the midst of exhaustion. So much exhaustion. But, you know, some people can't sleep. But then when I'm at ease, you know, I get my remedies, my chamomile tea, and then I just relax, you know? And then, because, you know, I did realize, but, you know, I clearly thought I was Superwoman trying to outdo sleep, you know? And then you realize you need sleep. That is essential, right? You're right. Sleep is such an essential thing. How it's so important that we just miss and bypass through that. The things that we bypass through, like this body is clearly needing things, you know, that we forget about. Time goes past so fast, and you don't want to miss it. So you got to slow down to realize, what does the body need? It's essential. These things are essential. And that was the premises of my artwork. Water your flower. So the question is, what is something that you need to water? You know? And guess what? Maybe you actually really need to water your flower or your plant, you know, that you've been missing out on. Like, damn, I forgot to water that plant. You know, maybe you have an animal, damn. I really got to give him that bowl of water in the daytime. You know, it could be as simple as that. Things that, I mean, that's doing other things for other things. But if you're perfect, you know, I'm not saying everybody's perfect, but some people say, you know, I don't need anything right now. I don't want anything. I'm good. Yeah, and the things that we really need, do we really need them? You know, yeah, we do. We need sleep. We need good nurturing. You know, we need a healthy body. Do we? Yes, we do. We do. To live a good life, you know. And the body's so amazing that even when you're not healthy, it figures it out. It changes it around and said, we're gonna good, we'll figure this out. So beautiful. So you know what? If anybody doesn't agree with anything, we could agree that being grateful is the best thing ever. So I feel like that would be part of it. What are your flower grapes? You know, guys, I appreciate everybody for being on here with me and going through the transits of artistry. It's something that I love and I'll keep loving forever. I'm a die-hard artist. I'm married to this thing called artistry, and I'm Aquarius Gem. And guys, I'm signing out. I'm signing off. And thank you, Oxygen. Thank you, Vivian Yang. And thank you to anyone who has subscribed. Just a short thing, because I'm about to take my nice walk and be quiet in the mind, because that's what I need. Bye, guys.